Hey, hey, hey. Can you hear me, Brandy? Hi, Senna. Brandy, are you able to hear me? I don't think she can hear me. Senna, are you able to hear me okay? If you're in the chat and you can hear me, please put a one. I'm checking to see if you can hear me. So I'm gonna see, Brandy, you go down. Hi, Pastor. Okay, so they can hear me. So Brandy, you go down. Give me 1 minute, love and action, Pastor and Senna, please. Go down, and then I'm going to drop the link, and you join the link. So I'm going to see if that makes sense. Go down. Hi, Pastor. Okay, so they. You're putting the link where? In the chat. Okay, so now I need to go to YouTube. Okay. Yep. So I just dropped the link. Pastor, if you can click the link, you can come up. And then we're waiting on a few more people. Oh, hey, Sam, how are you? So I just dropped the link. Click the link, and you can join the panel. Thank you so much for joining us today. I will drop it again. So, Sam, you can click the link, and then Pastor, you can click the link as well. All right, I see Sam. Sam, are you able to hear me okay? Okay. So we're going to wait for Pastor to click the link. Okay, I think he clicked the link. Pastor, are you able to hear me okay? Okay, Pastor can hear me. And then we're going to wait for Brandy to come in. Thank you both so much for agreeing to have this conversation with us on wellness, mental health.
Thank you for the invite.
Yes, mental health, physical health. We want to get it together.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I just added Brandy.
Thank you, Miss Wanda, for the invite. I'm glad to be here. When Brandy told me that, when she asked me, I couldn't do anything but say yes.
Well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Right, because this is such a needed conversation. Brandy, can you hear me okay on StreamYard? I don't know what's happening. Is your device turned up? Because Sam and Pastor is able to hear me okay. Hi, Janice.
Okay, say something.
Can you hear me?
No,
Hi, Shadow.
yeah. I'm going to try to get this on my phone because I can't hear you and the video keeps going out. So I always see myself, I don't see Pastor, I don't see you, we'll see.
Okay, try connecting with your phone, and I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Okay. I'm. Ah, sorry, Sam. I didn't even take you off. So,
Now you okay?
so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and then Brandy's gonna join us. We're having technical difficulties. So, as you know, June is Men's Health Month, right? At first, I'm sorry. How are you? Let me get that out the way. How are you?
Go ahead, Sam.
I'm well. I'm glad to be here. Thankful for the opportunity. Giving glory and honor to the Lord, for allowing me to be well and able to be here. I'm just getting off work, so I ate a little slice of barbecue chicken pizza, so I had to hurry up and do my thing. But I'm grateful to be here, and to God be the glory for the opportunity. Thank you, ladies, for having me. I love what you're doing here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you both.
Yes.
I too am doing well. It's been a great day, been a busy day. However, I had to maneuver some things around so I could make sure that I was sitting right here at this time with you all. This is great. So thank you so much for the invite and the invitation, because this is very important. And so thank you so very much. But I am doing well, and I hope you all are too.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm doing great. I actually had a different live doing smoothies. Sam, you and your wife Stephanie would have really appreciated that live. If you get a chance, go back and watch it. So
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
on this page, but it's also on Kendi K's page. We were juicing.
Oh,
Yeah, so you would have liked that for
yes,
sure.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So Brandy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm thankful for some extra days off this week.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Good
Got
days off.
tomorrow and Friday off, so I'm looking forward to the 4-day weekend.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm getting comments that there's a echo. So
Mhm.
when we're not speaking, whoever isn't speaking, put your mic on mute and just take it off mute when you're speaking. Okay, so Senna Janice, is that better? When it's just one of us with our mics unmuted? Okay, so she said it went away now. Mhm. So I am gonna let me start with this. June is Father's Day was what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, right? And with it being June being Father's Day, as well as the day we celebrate fathers, not the only day we celebrate fathers. Let me say that, not the only day. But also with it being being Men's Health Month.
You can't hear?
Pastor, you can't hear?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Sam, you hear okay? Are you able to hear us now, Pastor? Don't you just love technology?
Did he put something in the chat? I don't have it open.
So I will, I'm going to keep speaking and then I'll fill Pastor in.
Oh, we can't hear you,
Pastor, we
Pastor.
were hearing you just fine. Please bear with us just a few more minutes. Please, 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 please.
He may have to back out and then come back in.
Yeah, Brandy, could you send them a text real quick and just tell them to go out and come back in? So, Pastor John is my pastor, Sam's pastor, as well as Brandy's pastor. So, and Sam is a deacon at our church. And again, while we're waiting for Brandy and Pastor to come back, I just felt that this was an important topic, right? Brandy and I went live before talking about, mental health and men's health, but wasn't it, or isn't it better, we think it's better to have men up here speaking on this topic. So Real did join us the last time we spoke about it, and he had some really good insight. So we definitely appreciate that. We also wanted to invite the two of you on just to continue the conversation. One, because we know that men, unfortunately, don't feel like their mental health is important. They don't feel like they're as important as women's mental health, right? And of course, most men, not all, most, or I won't even say most, some men don't like going to the doctor to take care of their health. So we just want to talk about it, talk about all the things, right? So I don't know if you all can see the chat. But Janice said it's nice to meet you all. Pastor, are you still? Technology. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
He can hear you, but we can't hear him.
Correct.
Oh. Oh.
We're going to get this together. If anybody have any tips for us, because I don't understand why we can't hear him. The devil is busy. We rebuke the devil. You have no authority, and this conversation will be had in Jesus' name. Hi, Miss Alice. Hi, Alice. Sorry. Tell him to take off mute on his end. Okay, Shadow. This is going to be a good conversation. Okay, we're going to bring Pastor back up. Okay, Pastor, are you on mute?
I'm not. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Shadow. All right, now I don't know where Sam went. So I'm sure
I
he'll
just
be
forwarded
back.
the link to Sam. I think he's gonna maybe jump on from a laptop or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think StreamYard is working too good with this weather right now.
Probably not, because it is storming here where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Yeah, so that could have something to do with it. So while we wait for Sam, let me go ahead and say again, this is the Soul Session. Thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about health in general, more specifically, men's health in regards to their physical health, emotional, and their mental health. Brandy and I have talked about it before. Here on StreamYard, where Real Odds and Evens joined us for the conversation. And I just we thought it fitting to invite our pastor, Pastor John, and Sam, a deacon at our church, to join in the conversation. And then hopefully they'll be able to tell you their journey on becoming healthier, because they've both embarked on a healthier journey. And we'll let them share that. And without further ado, now that we have everyone, Brandy, do you have anything you want to add? Because I've just been babbling.
No, I'm ready to get into it and hear these two wonderful guys hear their journeys, and hopefully they can inspire someone.
Yes. So, Pastor, we'll let you go first, since you are the pastor. You are our spiritual leader. So let's start with, if you just want to tell us a little bit about yourself, And then how did you start on this health journey?
Well, first of all, again, thank you so much for the invite and for having this conversation. It is so very important.
Mhm.
Are you guys hearing me okay? Good.
Yes.
So this journey started from, well, who I am. I'm a 55-year-old, soon to be 56 at the end of the month. Husband, father, grandfather, pastor, and just a man of God that loves people, loves God. And if I can help, that's what I want to do. So that's just a little bit about me. I will say this too, as far as I'm concerned. I used to think, and I've said this before, but I used to think in my spiritual immaturity that kind of talking about negative health things was not good, as if I was owning them, as I was claiming them for myself. And so as I started to mature, I started to find out things that I need to know.
Okay, Pastor, you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me.
Things that the doc started, I would say about somewhere 2020, 2021, maybe. I went to the doctor after probably was 2021, because 2020 was COVID was real strong, and I don't blame it on COVID. I do, however, remember I was just a lot of inactivity and a lot of eating. I'll just say it like that. And so I was indulging. Um, and what happened was, as I was doing that, my doctor had explained to me that my numbers were not looking good at all. And so um, that was that, with a culmination of a couple other things, was really a starting point for me getting on my healthy journey in every area of my life. And I'll explain that just a little bit. Um, so the other things that led to that, that was the culmination. That doctor's report, that sit down with the doctor, was a culmination of what was going on. Because usually, I don't know about you guys doctors, but my doctor, after a blood test, if there's nothing going on, I usually just get a letter in the mail. This time I got a call. When I got a call, I knew something was up. And I'm like, okay, heart started racing, and I'm like, something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I listened, of course. And that was the culmination of me having been in a place where I was really hearing the Lord talk to me strong about what real love causes one to do. And so I won't tell everything, but just a long story short, I was unfortunately, during the COVID season, there were a lot of funerals. And me being who I was either officiating them or attending them and being involved in some capacity. And what I was starting to hear out of everything, it seemed like it was just kept a resounding ring in my ear, was whomever the person was, how much they loved their people, their family, their children, their grandchildren, their community. And while I'm hearing that, what I'm hearing God tell me is that we love to a certain extent in our own human level, but real love, God's love, causes us to do the necessary thing and change so that we can be here for those, first of all, for God, and then for those who He has us here to serve and to help. And so when I got this doctor's report over the phone, it all came back all at once. And God was telling me, if you love me, you'll change. and I'm just blown away. And I'm like, okay, because I know on the human side, if I keep on the route I'm going, it's not going to end well. And I know on the spiritual side, God has things for me to do. Um, and so I'm needing to get my life together. And so that started my spiritual journey of becoming healthy in every area of life. And I thought about, because we have our spirit, because we're spirit beings, so we have our spiritual life, mental, emotional. I kind of put those together because to me they kind of go together. I'm not a health professional either, so I won't step on no toes. If we got some people that know this stuff, they went to school, I'm available for correction if need be. But they're so closely related, the mental and emotional part, and then our physical health. And I thought about Amos 3:3, and because to me, and this is me personally, in the way that it lands for me. I don't believe that I can be spiritually healthy without all those other things lining up as well. And what I mean by that, the Amos 3:3 talks about, can two walk together except they agree? So me physically letting myself go and at the same time spiritually saying I'm spiritually healthy, and as a pastor encouraging, teaching, preaching, leading others to do the same thing. How can those really go together except they're going in the same direction? So when I'm reading that scripture, as far as two walk together except they agree, if I'm spiritually talking to people, teaching people, preaching to people about being spiritually whole, spiritually healthy when it comes to a relationship with God, and I'm letting myself go physically, how that can't line up. That sends two different messages to people. And I'm not saying everybody has to be Usain Bolt and just have, look like we chiseled out of a rock. That's not what I'm saying. However, I am saying I need to be cognizant of what I'm putting in my body mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and how that's going to affect my overall call on my life. And so that helped me so much get to where I am today. And I'll stop talking for a little while because you let me go first, and I just like to talk. So thank you. There's nobody else here at the house with me. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to leave my microphone on, because it seemed like every time I've turned it on mute and came back on, that's when I had problems.
Okay.
I shouldn't hear anything else because there's nobody else here but me.
Okay. And I don't know if you turned your camera off on purpose, but we're not able to see you.
Everybody else's camera went off. I haven't touched mine. I can see you all, but my camera is on. But all y'all cameras went off while I was talking.
Wow. Yeah, we're all on, and we can't see you.
We can't see you.
I can see everybody, including myself, and I can hear.
Okay.
But I never touched my camera, so my camera, I'll try to click it off and click it back on and see if that helps.
Okay.
Okay.
Sam, if you wouldn't mind just sharing with us your journey to, making the decision to get healthy.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for having me. And real quick, 2022 was probably when I started to really take it serious. January 22. I had found out that I went to the doctor and found out that my blood pressure was 190 over 110. And so for anybody that knows anything about blood pressure, that's fairly, very high and very dangerous for anybody that's walking this earth. And so I started to intermittent fast, and I started to do my research and things like that. And so I learned a little bit about that. And from then on, I've been intermittent fasting here and there. God has called me on some fasts that require me not to eat and things like that, just drink water and get time with him. But I try to intermittent fast. I was trying for at least 3 days a week. But the Lord told me, he said, you go every Wednesday without eating for a while, and I did. And fast forward to now, I was on blood. I've been on high blood pressure medicine for about, I say about 9, 10 years, but I haven't taken it seriously. And so my blood pressure has always been high. And um, humanly, let's be real, I wasn't always eating healthy. I haven't always eaten healthy. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm young, I'm good, I'll be all right. Um, I play a little basketball here and there. I don't play as much as I used to because of the roles that I have to fulfill now. So it doesn't allow me to be able to do it as much as I would like to, if at all. But my blood pressure was pretty high, and so it's always been fairly high. And so let me just fast forward to now. Um, I About December, I had uh, I had been getting real bad headaches. I mean, really, really bad headaches. And I kind of understood that it was my blood pressure, but I wasn't taking it. So um, it was a situation where some days I wouldn't even be able to go to work because they were so bad. And so that what does that do? That causes me to miss work and not be able to fulfill my duties and my responsibilities there because of my health. And so what will that also do? That will cause me to miss days and now my check short or things like that. Granted, I'm salary, so that doesn't necessarily happen now, but in recent in not in recent, but in previous years, it did take a toll. And so I would miss days, and now that affects my family. But what God started to reveal to me is in order for you to, as Pastor said, in order for you to be spiritually healthy, you have to also be physical. They go hand in hand. You can't compartmentalize them. You are who you are, spiritually and physically. So I needed to get my health in order physically. And so I made a doctor's appointment and they told me, hey, you ain't gonna be able to see the doctor till April 29th. And this is in December.
Mm.
And I said, wow, that's a long time. And without me being on my blood pressure medicine, me having headaches and things like that, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I simply prayed a prayer. Lord, I need your grace from now until April 29th. And uh I was still eating fairly unhealthy, kind of still trying to get a little health in there, vegetables here and there and things like that, but still not taking it very seriously as I needed to. And so uh Pastor tells us all the time, do the last thing God told you to do. And you got to follow, you got to walk in obedience. And so he started to teach us. I started to learn from him and also be taught that, the Bible tells us, follow me as I follow Christ. And one thing I've learned is that Pastor took his health seriously. And in order for me to be who I need to be for my family and for my church family, I had to start walking with some changes in my habits and how I ate. So April 29th comes and uh, of this year, 25, I go to the doctor and the doctor tells me, hey, your blood pressure is 200 over 130. And I said, what? I knew it was high, but I didn't know it was that high.
Mm.
And she looks at me and says, you're very lucky and blessed to be alive or even in a walking state. But I know that's the grace of God. And I asked God to grace me up until that point. And so uh, she says, hey, I can't let you, if we can't get your blood pressure down, we're gonna have to take you to the ER. So I had to go to the ER that day. And went to the ER and they like, well, we don't want to put it down too much, get your blood pressure down too much, just because we don't want to send you into a stroke or anything like that, because it can happen. And so I said, okay. So I got my prescription filled for my blood pressure medicine. And I in that hospital bed, I said, God, from this day forward, I have to take my health very seriously, and I have to make the changes that I need to make so that I'm not uh, putting my wife and my kids in a place of detriment, or they could possibly lose me. And so uh, here we are, and I went to the doctor June 6th, and I started to take my medicine. I started to uh, do the things I needed to do, not necessarily knowing everything to do, but just going with the things that I did know. Cutting salt out, cutting sweets, and cutting high sodium meals and sugars and things like that. And so I started to feel better. I started to see the medicine work as I've taken it consistently over those 4 weeks. She said, I'll see you in 4 weeks. I said, okay. And so 4 weeks came, and that was June 6th when she saw me. And my blood pressure at that time, remind you, I told you it was 200 over 130, April 29th. 4 weeks from that date was June 6th. And she said, I want to be able to see some changes. If not, I understand, but we'll tweak and do the things we need to do. And so June 6th came, and I was happy to actually go to the doctor, because when she took my blood pressure, when the nurse took my blood pressure, it read 132 over 80, right? Which is still that level of you creeping, but for me, for somebody that was 200 over 130, that's amazing, right? That's amazing. And so with that being said, it was 132 over 80, and it was consistently around 135. Every once in a while to jump a little bit through those 4 weeks, but it stayed consistently around 130. And so I was grateful for that. Um, and another thing was I lost weight. I was 217 when I went to the doctor on April 29th. And now currently, when I went to the doctor June 6th, I'm 205. So I lost 12 pounds within that midst of that 4 weeks. Yeah, to God be the glory. I lost 4 pounds, and 12 pounds in the midst of that 4 weeks. And so it really it gave me confidence to know that when you follow God, you follow those that have gone before you, uh and you really take it seriously, because it's not just about you, right? Your life is not just about you. It's about being able to be whole and uh healthy for those that are around you and those that are connected to you. Because as Pastor said, I can't do ministry. I can't be in my community. I can't be at my job and work with the kids that I need to work with if I'm not in a healthy state. And so it actually did help with my mental health. I wasn't soaking in anything. I wasn't eating because I felt sad that day or depressed that day or anything like that. So it's been a blessing for me. It's been a blessing for my family. It actually allowed me and my wife to start together. And one thing I've learned about being married is that intimacy together and things that you do together build intimacy and build the health of your marriage and your relationship. And so it's done that for us, as she's lost weight too as well, and got her health in order and got it in check. And so we're moving on this journey together with God.
Yeah. So
And
hold on 1 second, Sam, because you're moving ahead of me. Because we'll talk about family in a minute.
my bad, my bad. But
So
just to make it short, yeah. So that's my update right now, and that's where I'm at. That was a little bit of my journey. I missed some stuff in there, but hey, yeah.
Janice, let me ask her.
Okay. I
Janice,
think Pastor hopped out. He's gonna come back in. He was having trouble hearing Sam,
okay.
so he's
So let
gonna
me
come
ask
back in, I
Janice.
think.
So, Brenda, do you have any experience with high blood pressure by chance?
I do, and I think we talked about that briefly. Like I said, I am not the poster child for how to handle it. I promise you I'm not. For some years, I would go and like every other time they would take it, it would be high. So it was like I was threatened with medication for a few years. And then one of the specialists I see, my hematologist, he was like, I want you to get a blood pressure cuff. And he was like, and I want you to take your blood pressure twice a day, probably for about 4 or 6 weeks. And he was like, I need you to record it and report to me every week. So at the end of the 4 or 6 weeks, he was like, guess what you get? Medication. So I was like, oh, great. Took it for a little bit and, I didn't enjoy the side effects. Switched to something else, worse side effects than before. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna have to get my life in order. I'm gonna have to do something else because I can't function, with the side effects. And I was like, we've tried, 2 different types of medication. So I really that's when I got in the gym. I started working out, changed my diet. I'm a firm believer that everything we need to heal ourselves, God has provided. So I'm
Yes.
big on all natural supplements, herbs, teas, the whole nine. So I found hibiscus tea. It's a little bitter. Yeah, you heard of that, Sam? So I just started.
Drink it every day.
Yep. And it helps. So I have not had a high reading since I started actively working out and, keeping, a close eye on what I'm eating. And I drink that tea. Sometimes I'll do a couple cups a day, but I like the taste of it. So I keep it on hand and I try to get a cup in every day. But I would like to say that's, like I said, that's what God put that here for. So that's my experience and that's my journey. But for everyone else, take your medication. That's what your doctor told you to do. Take your medication.
So Miss Allen said hibiscus tea. She drink it as well. It helps with inflammation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's good for your
Yeah.
gut too.
So I'm gonna have to start drinking it if it'll help my blood pressure. So a
I
little
got something for you. Hold
transparency.
on.
A little transparency. Since the stroke, I take 3 pills in the morning and 3 pills before I go to bed. The same 3 pills. I'm supposed to take. They want me to take those pills 3 times a day.
Take the pills 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you some of this tea.
Yeah.
I got this from Ship Shawana.
Yeah. I could miss the 3 o'clock pill if my blood pressure, is fairly decent. And anything over 140, I have to take the pill. Anything less than 140, they look at that top number. Anything less than the 140, I can hold off. I'm taking the medication. So thankfully, I've only been having to take the medication 7, in the morning and then again in the evening. But I am going to get me some hibiscus tea. So then let me ask. It sounds like Pastor and Sam that your spiritual life, right? You had that together, but physically, your physical health needed some work. And with you all being the head of your household, how has your family either joined with you, right? Or how have you influenced your family? Let me ask that. How have you influenced your family?
I'll jump in there. So, first of all, by me having a wake up call and making the change actually helped my wife tremendously because she was already on hers. But it's hard for her to eat healthy and do the right thing when I'm eating everything that I can think of.
Right.
So mine was actually a great help to her because she was already trying. And I had become a hindrance to her, really, not meaning to, but hey, that's just what was going on. I'm eating whatever, and she's trying to eat healthy and things of that nature. So that's been a blessing, and now we both are headed in the same direction. So we're able to greatly encourage each other, help each other, and influence each other in the right way. So even when we have those moments that we might want to, I ain't gonna say fall off the rail. I'm talking about just jump off on purpose. So it's no accident. We actually can help each other. And you know what? We even have a treat every now and then, and it's okay because it's every now and then. It's not a regular thing. So that's one thing. But so my kids are adults and they're out of the house. I need a moment of silence for that. Okay, I'm back. However, because of we try to, as a family, spend time together. We try to spend a lot of time together. They come by the house on a frequent basis. I go to their homes and things of that nature. But usually when you're together, you're going to eat. You're going to eat something. You're going to drink something and things of that nature. And so what has happened is, and I didn't plan it. We just knew we were on a healthy journey, and that's where we were going to stay. So when they come over, there's healthy stuff in the house. And so if they want to drink something, they'll drink water and or whatever we're drinking that's going to be very low sugar, very low carb, very low sodium. As a matter of fact, when they come over and want to cook, they have to bring their own seasonings if they're preparing the dish, because they know we don't have nothing with salt in it and things of that nature. So, but instead of continuing to bring stuff, they found themselves, they come over here and they go right in the fridge and they're drinking what I'm drinking what their mom is drinking, eating what we're eating how we're eating. As a matter of fact, I have some bread that's low carb bread, had some hot dog buns. And I'm thinking that, they won't mess with those. I come home and think I'm about to get me a hot dog, and I go look in there, the hot dog buns is down to one. They just eat them like they're regular. So it's actually been a great influence on them because now they're seeing, how it is if you tell somebody to do something that they may not want to do, they're reluctant. But when that's the only thing there, or they're not paying attention and they just grab it and now they ate it and found out it wasn't bad at all. And now so it's been a positive influence on my kids. They still, they're still their own person. They eat what they want to eat. They drink what they want to drink. However, they visit us a lot and they know this is all that's going to be in here. So unless you bring your own, it's not going to be there's not going to be certain things in the house when they get to mom and dad's house. And so that it doesn't bother them anymore. They just come and indulge and have themselves a great time. And then I have to go shopping again because the stuff I thought that was only for me and mom, they like it too now. So I guess that's a plus, but sometimes my pocketbook don't think so.
Sam, how have and then how has it influenced your family?
It's influenced us fairly well. As I was saying before, and I'm sorry for getting ahead, but as I said before, me and my wife have started this journey together, and it's been well. So we got some different things that we working on, and so mine is not as serious as hers as far as the strictness of what she can eat, what I can eat. But I started to find myself to conform to what she was allowed to eat. And so it was working. But then I started to say, well, I like that. Wait a minute. I can have that. I'm okay. And so we just laughed about it because she was like, well, you ain't got to go as strict as I am. That's just for me. So you got to do what works for you. Because it was something that I had stopped eating. And I was like, no, I'm supposed to eat that. I'm good with that. God, God said it's okay. The doctor said it's okay for me to eat that. I can't just be stripping myself of everything just because your situation different. So I was able to get back on my little regimen of what I was doing and things like that. But it's helped tremendously. It's helped us with our shopping. It's helped us with our spending, and it's helped us even with our kids. They still younger. Our youngest two are still younger, but they're starting to come around when it comes to certain stuff. They kids, so I don't want to eat that, but they're learning to eat more things that are beneficial for their health rather than that's going to be a detriment to it. So it's helped in a lot of ways. Pastor, you mentioned bread, and so I thought to myself, I was like, I do my research. I research a lot, and so I found this bread that doesn't have any flour in it, and it's called Ezekiel bread. And on it is it's Ezekiel 4:9. I don't know the scripture by heart, but it talks about some the goodness of it. And
Yeah.
so my wife tried it, and she said, "I don't know how you eating this, bro, because this stuff is terrible." But
So
and my and I mean, she said it's terrible. I said, no, it's not. It's very, very good, and I like it. And I think that's just God shifted my taste buds and shifting, you know, just shifted me because if I probably regularly wouldn't have eaten it or tried it, but it's something about that bread. Put a little bit of peanut butter on there. It's like heaven. And so my daughter calls it Bible bread.
Wow.
My daughter calls it Bible bread, but I love it and I enjoy it. And so just learning and growing and having fun with trying new things, and it's really built a different camaraderie and love for in our family that we didn't have when we were just eating what we wanted to and indulging in how we wanted to. So it's been a blessing, and it's been great for us.
Good.
So let me say this: Ezekiel bread is not good,
It's not.
but
good.
Not good.
so that the cinnamon raisin, I can tolerate that. I can make toast and tolerate the cinnamon raisin, but that other cardboard,
Exactly. It's a cardboard with little seeds and nuts pasted to it.
Oh my gosh.
that is cardboard,
It really
right?
is.
So Janice, you've had it, right? She said even if you toast it, it's not good. It's not. So again, the cinnamon raisin, I can tolerate it, but yeah, and it's very expensive. Oh, everything tastes good toasted.
Mm,
Not Ezekiel.
not that. No.
Hey,
Not Ezekiel.
I don't know what it is. That Ezekiel bread toasted with peanut butter is so good to me. But that's just me though.
Right.
That's
That's
just how
good.
God.
Don't let us deter you, Brother
Hey,
Stephen.
no,
Don't let
you're
us
not gonna
deter you.
deter me. Not at all. That's just how God. Hey, that's how God made my taste buds for it.
There
I
you go.
enjoy it.
God's still working on mine.
I'm glad you like it because it's good for you.
Mhm.
It's better for you than regular bread. But like Pastor in his household, I use Aunt Millie's low carb bread. It's the
Yep.
only bread. I use the 5 seed.
Yep.
It's the only bread that it's the only bread we use. So that, and then the low carb tortillas.
Those are good.
Yep. I use those too.
Yeah. So, um, so Howard Burdett, Tony said, "Oh, so Tony likes Ezekiel bread."
He said that's what he
Welcome,
likes.
Tony. Oh, Sierra is on. She said she's never heard of it. Sierra, you wouldn't like it.
No, she ain't gonna like it.
She
Shout
wouldn't.
out to Tony for loving it. Yeah, come on now.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, Brenda, do you have any questions for Pastor and Sam?
I do. So we've heard both of your stories, and we've talked about what that looked like and how things are starting to look a little bit different at home when it comes to your family and your spouse. But I'm curious to know, what does self-care look like for men? You know, we see, the TikToks, the Facebook reels, and every now and again, I may see what is, I guess, deemed as like, self care for men, but it's really just men cleaning the
Sam,
house.
put on your.
So I'm curious to know, what do you all do to care for self so that you keep that balance of, keeping your health in order and still, maintaining your priorities with your family?
I'll jump in there first. Excellent question. Thank you for asking it. For me, self-care, it it's not I'm trying to think of the words. Because I don't want to sound a certain kind of way, but I just want to be honest and truthful. It's not it's not hard for me. And what I mean by that is, um because of, I guess because the kind of the way I go about life, if you will, to God be the glory. It helps me. Self-care for me really just boils down to this. I can I'm busy doing what God has called me to do. I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. It gives me energy, gives me it boosts me. It's like it's it's like a shot in the arm, a shot of adrenaline. I love it. And so that, to me, honest to God truth, is self-care. And along with that, not but or not if or and when I get home in the evening and it's whether my wife is here, whether it's just me or whoever, I'm fine being alone. That's self-care for me as well. I'm good being go, 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 rah, 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 and making sure I'm handling everything that God has placed in my hand as a steward over. And when I get home and it's quiet and I don't hear nothing, but if the rain is raining, it's dropping rain, I'm good. Like, and so I think I've been a simple person. It's just it's the makeup of me. So I don't need to be stimulated. I'll just say it like that. I don't need something to be happening to stimulate me. Um, when it gets when I know I've taken care of my business for the day and I'm winding down, I can put on one of my TV shows that I like and watch it for an hour, hour and a half. I'm done. I'm ready to go to bed now. I'm good. So and my day is fulfilled. So self-care for me is me actually being able to accomplish the things in my health actually helps that tremendously because it helps me to accomplish what what I believe God has called me to do in this world. And so now that I'm doing that and doing it at a greater level, if you will, because we're 9 years in now. I'm 9 years into pastoring, and my schedule has gotten busier, which it should, and I'm good. Like it's like, okay, I'm energized, I'm ready. And so self-care for me is me taking care of my kingdom business as I'm supposed to. And when it's time for me to chill or time for me to wind down, I'm fine in a crowd. I'm fine by myself. And it's a God thing. I know that because I haven't always been like that. I'll just say it like that. But I'm at that place in my life now, and it's awesome to me. Thanks for asking. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, yes. I love to hear that. To me, what I got from that is that, you know, obviously you've accepted the call that you have on your life, and you're you're okay to, to walk the walk that you have to. And like you said, you don't it's not that you don't require a lot, but you're good and you've accepted that, hey, and it sounds like you get your, I guess, fulfillment from knowing that you're doing what God has asked you to do when it comes
Yes.
to the church, when it comes to your family, when it comes to, you know, us in the church and the things that you do in the community. So I think that's wonderful. I think that's awesome.
I have a for instance, real quick. It was Father's Day Sunday. Had an awesome time at the house of worship. Came home, changed clothes. Okay, what y'all want me to do? It's Father's Day. We taking care of all the cooking. So my wife and my daughters, they were in the kitchen. I said, cool. Then my phone goes off. It's a call. I get to travel to Kalamazoo because I need to go do a hospital visit. And a statement was made. Don't they know it's Father's Day? You should, and it was jokingly though, but they said you shouldn't have to do extra stuff. I said, well, this not extra stuff, this to call on my life. I'll be back. And it was knowing that I'm not neglecting anybody. I'm not neglecting my wife. I'm not neglecting my family. I'm not neglecting my church. I'm doing what so it was like God. It's like God cleared the way. It wasn't as if I was the one that was cooking and now everything was hinging on me having to leave. It was great. I'm like, okay, I'll be back. And so I went, text when I left the hospital, said on my way. And they said, okay, we'll be ready, to do whatever when you get here. So that was, to me, it was, again, that was self-care for me. That was like, excellent. Thank you, Lord, that I am doing what I believe you called me to do. And so now when I get to go do another thing, you've taken care of things on the other end. And so it's not like I grew up in an era, I'll just say it like this and then I'll stop. I grew up in an era that, quote unquote, the pastor was always gone, always. And that was, I don't know if, I won't say that was by design, but it wasn't handled the correct way. I will say that. As I've grown and matured, I knew it wasn't handled the right way. And that hasn't been my story. Yes, there's some times when I'm gone a lot. However, it's okay because I'm available a lot too. And I try to make sure I'm available when I'm supposed to be available so that when I do get called away for whatever reason, it's fine, because guess what? I'm normally doing what I'm supposed to do. So I don't have to worry about, oh man, now I legitimately need to go, but I've been gone so much I didn't have to be gone. Now it's clashing with itself. And so that's not a situation I have to worry about, that I get to worry about. And so to God be the glory. I give him it all, because it's not me. Not like, well, I'm gonna set up my schedule so I can balance it out just perfectly. Nope. I don't even worry about that. My thing is, I have a little saying, and I know most of Love and Action has heard it before: obey God and let him worry about the details. So when other details pop up, I'm good because I'm obeying God, and he knew this was coming. And since I've been obeying him, everything is going to be good. So thank you. I'm done. I'm stop talking now.
So real quick, I just want to say, Pastor, I don't know if you can see the comments or not, but
I can. I got my iPad on so I can see comments.
Okay, yeah, Janice said she understands that she's an introvert as well, and she believes that is something she needs to grow out of.
So, Janice, thank you for saying that. My daughter, Jayla, was the first one that discovered and helped us. She said, and I guess there's a term for it, introvert, extrovert. And whatever the term is, I don't know what it is. I'm fine. I can be at Cedar Point right now and be just fine, running with thousands of people. And then I can get to my hotel room and won't be nobody there but me, and I'm fine. I'm just as fine as I was in the crowd. And I know it's a God thing. It's not, oh, wow, you're so, no, it's not me at all. It's all him. So thank you for saying that. And so I'm here to encourage you that just keep on going with God. I promise you, you'll do just fine as an introvert, because it's a God thing. Okay, I'm done.
So Alice said, amen. She do her best to live by Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And I don't know what that says.
Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not to thy own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
All
Keep it
right.
up. Keep it up. Keep it up, Alice.
So, go ahead, Brandy. Let's talk about your you being an ambivert.
Oh, I was just sharing because it was brought up.
Oh, thank
We
you.
don't have
That's
to necessarily
yeah,
talk about that.
ambivert.
Yeah, I was just putting it in there because I know it was mentioned, but that's the term.
Okay, thank you.
And
I've been educated this evening.
yeah, and we can hear from Brother Sam. I am though, it just depends on the setting.
Mhm.
We can do a whole podcast on that alone. So
Oh, so for me, self-care is a little bit similar to pastors. Uh, for me, one thing I like to do, I like to learn a lot. So that's like for some reason that's just self-care to me. I like to keep myself sharp. I like to keep myself always seeking God on what has he placed on the inside of me that I don't know about. And if I see something on the internet that may take me to that place where I'm like, okay, that's something I like. That's something I can get into. That's something. So I like to learn. I've always been a learner. I've always been inquisitive. Always been that way. And so that's one way I like to do self care. It may sound a little weird because you may think, well, when do you stop? I don't, if I'm honest. But it doesn't tire me out or burn me out or anything like that. The Bible tells us that my people perish for a lack of knowledge. So I'm always seeking not other things to be God or not other things or other religions or anything like that, but I just like to learn about myself and some of the things like I found out that I like to put stuff together. And I've been like that since I was a kid, but I've grown to learn and like it more and more now than I've ever done it. So I saw something the other day. It was like a Lego set, and it was my son. His actually his granddad. He put this big old jet together, and I looked at. It, I was like, oh man, I got to get something like that. Stuff like that, putting stuff together, learning about different things. I like to be alone sometimes, and my aloneness doesn't just be like everybody got to go somewhere, but I just like when I get a moment to just sit down. That's self care for me. It may even be 5, 10 minutes, but that's what I consider self care because I've been a little conditioned to just go as a man and as a husband to provide and work and do certain things and in ministry and stuff like that. So I've learned to just um go, but those quiet moments where I can just sit and pause for a minute, that's self-care. Putting stuff together is self-care. Making sure my family is good is self-care for me. And I know that sounds weird, like, well, that's not personally you, but it's the way God wired me. We were at dinner on Sunday for Father's Day, and my wife took me out with the kids and everything, and just being with them is self care. You know, just those moments of spending time with them, and we play board games together. We do card games together. Those things for me is self care. I don't have to necessarily be alone. I don't have to be on a trip. I don't have to be necessarily secluded to just me in order for me to find self care in it. I've learned that I'm not always, God created me to be a family man. So that's what I find. That's where I find most of my self care is around my family, around my wife. When they're good, I'm good. Right.
Good.
So that's how it's been for me. When they're good, I'm good. I don't need a whole lot of rah-rah. If I can catch a basketball game, I'm only gonna watch the first quarter, maybe second quarter, but that's it. And I like to read. I'm like I said, I like to learn, so I'm always reading stuff and trying to figure out stuff. And yeah, so those are some things that I like to do. It doesn't have to be hard for me. Life, I'd rather it be more simple than hard and difficult. And I gotta go here, I gotta go do this, I gotta have this. My mood gotta be dim, it gotta be light, it gotta be cold, it gotta be hot. I don't need all that. Just allow me to have a book, something to use my hands, how I can use my hands and my family around me, and I'm cool.
Yep. So Janice said you take pride in your family and your presence in their lives. So she respects that.
Excellent. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a good question, yo. That was a good question. Because I think also we don't, as men, if I'm honest, we don't always take time for ourselves.
Mhm.
Nope.
And
A
and
lot of
and,
times we don't.
and a lot of times when we don't take times to ourselves, or if we don't have anyone to share our feelings and the things that we deal with someone, that's when we become secluded, isolated, and detrimental not to only ourselves but those that are around us.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's the phrase that you use, Pastor, about being stretched?
Oh, so I hear oftentimes, and I kind of listen at words a little bit, especially when people use them as like, and like you said, phrases, because sometimes we catch on, we start saying stuff, we don't realize what we're saying. So if you say you're struggling, I think of struggle as playing tug of war. God's on one end and I'm pulling on the other end. That's a struggle. Stretch means that God is getting me out of my comfort zone so he can grow me to another level. He can grow me to another capacity. And so when I'm being stretched, stretch is the good thing, because if you think about a rubber band's purpose in life is to be stretched. If you're not being stretched, then you're not useful. You're as a rubber band. So if I thought of my life as like a rubber band, if I'm not being stretched from time to time, or if I'm not being used to hold things together or whatever, now I'm not being used for the purpose in which I was made. And so stretched is good. Struggle, to me, to just be blatant with it, struggle is sin. That's God telling me one thing and I'm pulling one to do something else. That's But stretch means I've given myself to God, and now it's uncomfortable. Being stretched is uncomfortable. Struggling is uncomfortable. But one of them is for a good thing, the other one is for a negative thing. I'm gonna stop.
No, so now I
No.
have to go and do a little research on stretch
Yes.
and struggle.
Right. And the reason I asked that, I couldn't remember exactly how you would phrase it, but when I listened to you and Sam and what you say your self-care is, that's what I was hearing, that you all have leaned in to the stretch. That's what I'm hearing, is that you leaned into that and you've expanded your capacity to include yourself, to include your spouse, to include your family, your work and the things that you do. So I just want to commend both of you in that, because that was really awesome to hear. And I hope that there's a lot of men tuning in that caught that.
Yeah. For me, when it comes to stretch and struggle, I've struggled enough without God, right?
That's good.
So um when I first heard the phrase, I heard Lady B say it, and I was like, stretch.
Yep.
No, I struggled. But once I started to really sit with it and say, hey, this stretch is not a struggle. It's being able to adapt to what's going on, adapt to where you are, adapt to where God is taking you. And when Pastor said, when he talked about the rubber band, one thing about a rubber band is always stretched, but it never loses itself. It never loses its identity and who it is. It always is able to come back to that starting point. If it needs to go a little further, it has the capacity to be able to do it. And so, one thing I've learned about being stretched is Pastor has always taught us that we cannot compartmentalize our lives. Be one person here, be one person there, be another person here or another person there. You have to be who God has called you to be everywhere. And so over the last couple years, in taking the role as a deacon, I've learned within myself, not just with the title, but as a man, as a father, and as a husband, and someone who works within the community, works in the community of my church, works in the community outside at different jobs and things like that. I've learned that God has been able to stretch me and learn that it's okay to be yourself no matter what. You don't have to switch or change for people in order for you to be liked, loved, or seen or heard. So you can be yourself, and in that stretching, God is not only showing you who you are, but he's helping you create and understand the value of who you are. And I think value is very important in being stretched. Because if I don't have any value within myself, if I don't see that, if I allow my value to be within what other people see or their perspective, I'll be stretched and conform to what they want, and that's where I'll struggle.
No,
And y'all trying to get me started. I'm not gonna do it though. I'm not gonna do it. This is all I'm gonna say. Have you ever grabbed a rubber band that had not been used for the purpose that it was supposed to be used and tried to stretch it? It snapped immediately. That's what happens to a lot of us because we're not placing ourselves in God's hands so we can be stretched. What's happening is when it comes time that you're going to, and something is going to come that's going to move you out of your comfort zone, you snap. A rubber band that's not being used for what it's supposed to, it becomes brittle. And now, as soon as you try to use it on the slightest thing, pop, rubber band is no good. I'm done. I'm listening now.
Now, so Janice said, you begin to lose parts of yourself slowly.
I can agree with that.
Definitely.
It's definitely Pastor telling on us.
No, I'm just talking. Janice. I'm just talking.
That was a good play on words. Snapped immediately. That was a real good play on words.
Yeah, I think it's very important to piggyback off a little bit of what Sam said, is to be yourself, right? And I hope and pray that anyone who sees me here in the YouTube streets, as they say, you see me here, on YouTube, but if you were to meet me in person, if I were to see you at a grocery store, if you were to take one of my classes, if, I don't know, Pastor, you always talk about going to get your coffee at the gas station. If you were to see me at the gas station, if I'm talking to the president of the college, or if I'm talking to the unhoused person,
come on.
I hope that I am the same, right? I try to be myself no matter where I am or what I'm doing or who I'm with, right? You don't get a different person.
Right.
And I think that's important.
It is. I love that.
Yeah. So with teaching, when I first started, I shared this story on YouTube before. when I first started teaching, y'all. So I had this idea of what a professor was
Come on. Come on.
and how I was supposed to act. So I went in, you know, I'm instructor. I'm an instructor. Yeah. It was so not me, and it was tiring. I was tired, and I said, you know what? I can't do this another semester.
Mm.
Not. So I had to go in as myself. And when I went in as myself, of course, I started enjoying it. But I've gotten several compliments where students actually said, I see the God in you,
Mm.
right?
There we go.
Yeah. So I started getting compliments like that. And it was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm. So I try
That's
to
good.
be, and not that I'm, you know, in my classes, you know, hitting people over the head with the Bible, right? But it really is just my character, right?
Mhm.
That's a part about extending grace and just being kind. So, yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful.
hmm
I love that.
So, what you see is what you get.
I hear you. That's where I'm at.
What you see is what you get. So, yeah. Anything else, Brandy? So let's take about maybe 10, 15 more minutes because I don't want to keep Pastor and Sam.
Yeah, I know they just getting off and everything. So, what's one thing that everybody wants to commit to doing differently this summer?
Hmm.
I,
Ooh.
I, I'll jump in there first. Um, Staying disciplined. And I know that's kind of broad, but it's the truth. Because if I deviate from anything that I've said or God has said to me, then I'm doing something that's not going to work for me. So I believe that my commitment this summer is to stay disciplined and in every area of my life. Yeah, I may fall short of the glory of God, but um I'm doing what I know is uh spirit led first of all, and what's for me. And I'm not trying to do anything outside of that. So stick to the script, stick to the uh not necessarily the regimen, but stick to what God has called me to do, but also in commitment. You also have to be, I said it before, you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to adjust because in being disciplined, you learn what works and what doesn't. And with being disciplined, you learn that what you thought was good for you is not necessarily good for you, or I can dial it back a little bit just because I'm on this path to be who God has called me to be, and I'm on this health journey. I'm able to see, oh, I can't eat it. I'll just say this: I can't eat a flour tortilla no more because it doesn't line up with my stomach. So I have to be adaptable and be able to adjust within the disciplines of what I'm doing. So I think just being disciplined um and I learned that from Pastor. Don't get so stuck on the regimen where you can't be adjustable to what God is trying to do within you and through you and for you. So
Yes. So thank you, Deacon Sam Jackson. What is one thing you want to commit doing differently this summer? That's a really good question. You know what? I have to think about that one because and here it is. I think one of the main things for me is pushing others at more of a commitment and consistent level than before. And what I mean by that is because again, when I think about the stretch and the struggle, it's helping stretch people out of their normalcy of comfort zone, because it's going to end up better, first of all, kingdom wise, but it's also going to end up better for them as individuals, as well as individuals that's in the kingdom. Because I think oftentimes we don't I just saw a news thing the other day, and then I'll say this, and this didn't have me thinking about what my answer was, but this goes along with what my answer was. I think it was his second year or third year in high school. LeBron said the coach, after he had played the first scrimmage game, and when he came off the court, he said his coach, he didn't know it at the time, but his coach was stretching him. He said, "Oh, you the player of the year," in like of a sarcastic way. And LeBron coming in, because the year before they had a really good year. I think they were undefeated and won the championship. And he was thinking like, I'm coming in feeling myself, but there was more in me, and the coach knew that. And in order to get me there, he had to push me. And so I think a lot of times we don't achieve and others don't, because it actually does take people outside of you to help you see things that maybe you don't see the potential that you already have. And so I think I'm gonna be stretching some rubber bands this summer. What? Miss Wanda, what? I didn't say where. I ain't say where.
Does that filter into your church family as well?
Oh, it starts there.
We here, Wanda. We're thinking the same way.
But if I can piggyback on something Sam said, I just try to be me across the board. I don't try to be, show up as over here one thing and over here. So I'm just gonna try to be me across the board. So I mean, the church family is just part of who me is. It's part of the call on me life. So
we better buckle up, Wanda, is what he's saying.
Right.
Better get ready. Stay ready so we don't have to get ready.
So listen at this. So my pastor, Dr. Addis Moore, he is right now in Alabama. They have the National Baptist Association has their session this week, and he has now become the dean. So he's on the big stage. And here's what he told me a long time ago. He said, because he pushes the congregation, so now they expand, they learn more, they grow, they start to realize more potential, that automatically causes them to push back on him. And so now it's both of us are growing, because as I pour more in and ask for more out, now when you guys start doing it, that means I have to grow to another level too. So it's like a both and. It's not just me pushing or stretching rubber bands. It's as they stretch, then they start to stretch me as well. So thank y'all for helping Pastor grow this summer.
So, and let me say this, since I don't know, I've been going to Love in Action, maybe 3 years now. It was right after the pandemic.
Yep.
I started going, and I see my growth, right? I see that where I'm applying the word more, because I can admit, full transparency, I've been in the church since I left my mama's house. I've never been out of the church, right? Oh yeah, I've been out there and done some things, but I've been, pretty much in the church. And I was okay with being a pew member.
I hear you.
I was okay. I was comfortable, right? Got pay my tithes, do what I can do. Yeah. But since being at Love and Action, I find myself getting more involved and doing more,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah. So you've already stretched me, so you don't have to worry about me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
Oh, Wanda, that's hilarious. She said you don't have to worry
God.
about her.
Yes. So, hello, SBK. Welcome in.
Oh, Wanda.
So we're actually talking about so SBK, if you don't mind me sharing, he actually did a live on mental health, men's mental health, and how a lot of times, and SBK, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times, men feel men feel like they don't matter as much, like their mental health doesn't matter as much as women. When we started this conversation, I started off with that. A lot of times you all go, your mental health is ignored, right? You're supposed to have it all together. Um, you don't have an opportunity for the most part to to I don't want to say check out, but to just put things on pause because you still have to be the provider. You still have to, take care of home. So, can you tell me your thoughts? Okay, he said correct.
I think even in saying that, um, when you said we don't have the ability or the time to really check out or be on pause or anything like that, um, life happens, right? So
Hmm.
there will be times where we won't be that provider. I've been in that situation. Um, and one thing that kept me together was I understood a little bit about my identity in Christ and who the provider was. So a lot of times as men, we look to other men, we look to celebrities, we look to what it looks like to be a man, and we get so caught up in things and people and the ideology of what a man is, and maybe we didn't have that perfect example at home, or maybe we didn't have that example at all. So our identity begins to be shaped and formed by what we see. So we can't see God. So how can I conform to somebody? How can I be conformed to his image if I can't see him? I can't see what he looked like. I can't feel him. I can't tangibly touch him. I can't really have a conversation with him when if I really need to. That's what's going on in a lot of their minds and a lot of their heads. So they're forming their own. Satan is allowing them to form certain ideologies and form certain thought patterns. And well, you ain't gonna be this because your dad wasn't there, or your mom said this about you, or look at him, he got this, he got money, he got a car, he got a woman, he got this, he got that. So it starts to form you. It starts to give us a sense of self. It gives us a sense of self-worthlessness. It challenges our self-worth. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Um, it makes us feel like we're less than because we don't have certain things and that other men have. But to get to my point, back to my point, is just it's allowing us to know that our identity is in Christ. And I think something that's important for us as men that know our identity in Christ is that we have to help others that don't know, that are lost and don't know Jesus and don't know Christ, to get them to understand that that's the original intent, for our identity not to be in things or formulated in who did this or how they did this or what they did, but to know that God is still with us, even if we can't meet the standard of what they say a man is supposed to be from a societal standpoint.
So, Pastor, what do you think? You think men are that your mental health or your health matters less?
I agree with what Sam just said. I do believe that when I take my cues from what the world says, we were in Bible study last night. Was it last night? This Wednesday? Yeah, we was in Bible study last night, and the question came, something to the effect of how has the world around you shaped your thinking? And I believe that and it didn't start in our time. This has been going on for years and years and years, that men were called to be certain things, and to do certain things. And you said it already, Miss Wanda, so I won't go back and rehash that. And I agree with Sam on what he was saying about a lot of times we take our cues from the outside. However, when I allow what my creator tells me about myself, and quickly, even while Sam was talking, I thought about Joseph. Joseph went through a lot of stuff, but one of the things that came to the top of my mind when I think about us taking care of ourselves, our mental health, and can we take time out? Can we take a break? Can we, lay things down for a little while we go fishing or whatever the case may be? I believe it is it's well within the man to make sure, as I'm leaning into, thank you, Brandy, for saying that earlier, as I'm leaning into who God called me to be and doing what God called me to do, it actually sets up for my mental health to be good. And what I mean by that, when Joseph became second in charge, God told him there's about to be 7 years of more than enough, and there's going to be 7 years of famine. I think a lot of times when there's more than enough time, energy, whatever we're supposed to be doing as men, when we don't take full advantage of that, when it comes time to work double time, quote unquote, or so to speak, now we find ourselves messed up because I didn't put away when I was supposed to. So it was actually in him obeying God in the 7 years of plenty that in 7 years of famine, he was able to relax because he did what he was supposed to do when he was supposed to do it. And so I'm finding as a man to take my cues from God. And when it's time for me to be on it, however many hours a day, and do this and do all that, it's all good, because I know when it really comes time for me to have a break, quote unquote, or me to have a mental health day, whatever we want to call it, and all those things are true. So no, I'm not just poo-pooing that, because those things are very real and very true. It's in my obedience that sets me up to be able to relax when it's time to relax. So I don't know if I said it a lot lately, but so you guys, Wanda and Miss Wanda, I don't know why I call you Miss Wanda, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep on calling you that. Miss Wanda and Miss Brandy. I used to say a lot that as I first started pastoring, here's what I was endeavoring to do. I like to sleep when it's time to sleep. When I lay down at night, I like to get a good night's rest. And I knew and started leaning into the fact that I had an assignment from God to feed his flock. And if I did what I was supposed to do during the day, feeding his flock, when it's time for me to lay down, I would be able to lay down and rest. And since I knew I liked my rest, I knew I needed to obey God. So I obey God when I need to, when there's plenty. And now when it's time that I just get to rest. And I don't have to, man, I wish I would have told Miss Wanda this, or I wish I would have told Sam this. Nope. God might wake me up because he wants to talk to me about something else and about the next move, about the next thing. But I'm endeavoring, and I'm not perfect, but I'm endeavoring to every day to be able to lay down knowing that I completed today's assignment. I'm good. And so, but it's in that gives me my mental health days, that gives me my rest to make sure in this life is, and Deacon Jackson said it, life is going to happen and will be happening all the time. There's going to be stuff that's going to come up that going to interrupt everything you had going on. I totally get that. However, preparation gets us ready for any kind of emergency. So when we're prepared, even though the emergency pops up, yes, it kind of threw off my schedule, but it didn't throw my whole world out of whack. And now mentally I can't handle it because, well, they want this and I got to do this and I got no. One of the things is just a switch of one letter, not G-O-T got to do, but G-E-T I get to do. Mm-hmm. Even that, and Lady B helped us introduce that. That helped me tremendously because I know I'm doing what I'm called to do. So now that something else is on the calendar for me to do, I get to do this. But I know when it's time for me to rest, it's going to be available. Why? Because God knows I'm human, and when I need some time, he's going to provide that time. I have to be wise enough in my obedience of him to make sure I take it when he supplies it.
So going back to my original question, do you feel, I guess for lack of a better word, seen, heard, listened to when it comes to your mental health? What I'm hearing you all say is because of your spirituality, even if the world does not hear, see you, or understand, you know who you are. And if you need the rest, you're able to just take the rest regardless of what people are thinking or saying.
Ms. Wanda, I'm gonna piggyback on something that you said. So I did the same thing as you did when you first stepped in as professor. You had this ideology. Sorry about that. You had this idea about what a professor is supposed to be and how you're supposed to come across. Going into pastoring, I had this whole idea that was given to me that, you know what, you need to work this many hours a day. You need to be this and you need to be that. And I'm thinking like, okay, the church is just getting going. I don't even have I would have to think of stuff to fill my day with to try to be at the church 60, 70 hours a week. So going in with that mindset, if I would have stayed with that, I would have been messed up by now. But that was going off of what somebody else said that I'm supposed to be doing, not off me obeying God and doing what I'm. So when my identity got right, spiritually speaking, now I know. And even one of my big brothers in the ministry said this. We were at a workshop and he was teaching the pastors. Pastor Timothy Troxler was Macedonia. He was teaching the pastors and he said, stop neglecting your family by thinking you got to be at that building from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock at night. He said, go to the office, do the stuff you're supposed to do, then go home and be with your family. And that was just so freeing. But that's not what we had seen growing up. And that's not what you had seen, from a perspective of being a professor. I got to go in with this, got to look a certain way and sound a certain way. But that's not who God called you to be. So when your identity got right with your father, and you like, wait a minute, he called me to be Miss Wanda. That's who I'm gonna be when I go to that classroom. Now people get to see him through you being you.
Right.
That's yes. So I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And it was the same experience for me. But me showing up, being me, now people get to actually run into God because I'm being me. But it had to do with me leaning into who he's calling me to be, not what we've heard or seen or whatever ideals we thought we had coming into a situation.
Mhm. So I just want to read Janice's comment. Janice's comment. She said, I'm learning more about men's mental health, seeing my husband struggle with his health now that he's retired from the military. He is 100. Oh, he's a disabled vet, 100% disabled, and her brother is as well. Mhm. Yeah. So, and it's 8:50. I know you got to go, but I do want to say this to comment to go off.
Go ahead.
So, well, I'll save that for another time. So, yeah. Thank you, Janice, for commenting.
Thank you very much for commenting.
I was just going to mention my husband being, retired as well, a catastrophic injury. So he's 100% retired, right? He's retired and not able to do the things he, once did. But I'll save that for another time.
I would love to jump all over that too. Just from a I'll say this, just from a standpoint of so first of all, thank your husband and your brother for their service to our country, helping us live the life that we get to live on a regular basis. And saying that, I will not attempt to try to give any credence to the fact of the military life, because that was not my polite life. So I know I can't speak to that. However, from a mental standpoint, I will speak to taking that time, because we didn't talk about this, but on this episode, but I do believe, again, just like with if I had a broken arm, I would go see a doctor that can help fix my broken arm. If something is going on with my mental capacity, and they've seen some stuff and heard some stuff and been through some stuff that I couldn't even articulate because I haven't been there. However, I would definitely, because that's a stigma too, especially now. It's a double whammy for us on here today, because it's a stigma in the Black community and it's a stigma in the male community. Seeking help, you're weak in both areas. And so it's not true. However, that's what we've seen and what we've heard. And that's what's been perpetuated over the years. However, I would definitely encourage, getting those things, getting that help, seeking that help from those individuals that are, that have that capacity to help you work through what you've gone through so you can get to a better place. Because I don't want my brothers struggling after having served this country in the capacity in which they have. So this pastor will definitely be praying. And so thank you so very much for your comment. I'm gonna stop now. Thank you. I'm done.
So are there any lasting comments? So I have one before you all go. Like, share, subscribe.
Yes, like, share, subscribe.
Right. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We will have more conversations about health every Wednesday at 7:00, right here. Janice said she appreciates the pastor. She appreciates your prayers. She appreciates your comment. So, any last comments? Brandy, Sam, or Pastor?
I'll just say, it's been an honor to be a part of this podcast tonight, and to be a part of the conversation and discussion and pushing um the agenda of men's mental health, because it's very important. Fathers are going through a lot of things, men are going through a lot of things, husbands are going through a lot of things, men in general are going through a lot of things that we don't always get to speak about and be heard about. And it needs to be more conversations like this. And I appreciate you ladies for bringing this forth. But if I can be real, it needs to be us pushing that more. It needs to be us pushing that more,
And you,
because
when you say us, are you talking about men?
men, we got to be pushing that more, because we shy away from each other because of socioeconomic status, because of certain ideas that we have, certain ways that we've been raised, certain things that we've gone through that shape and shift our thinking. So I think we have to, even in our churches, we have to push the agenda of men meeting and getting together with men. I can't speak for anybody else's city or church or anything like that or anything, but from what I see from afar, a lot of men don't get together for the right reasons and the right things. And those things that some are a part of and doing shape what your mental health is going to be like. The Bible says, let this mind is in you also be in Christ Jesus. And so as long as we continue to uh, tuck our tails as men and not come forth with how we're feeling with other men, we'll always be behind the 8 ball. And let me be honest, women will always lead certain things and make us, and we'll start to, and it ain't y'all making us feel that way, but we're not taking the lead in certain things in our lives and stepping up and being vocal about how we're feeling, why we're feeling, and where we're feeling those things. So we'll always be behind the 8 ball when it comes to that. And I think we need to lead and start formulating some things and putting things together for ourselves, so that one, women can see that men can lead in different capacities and also be comfortable with men leading.
That's good. Thank you, Sam.
Amen.
Thank you all both so much for this platform. Thank you for doing this. This is, again, a very, very important topic, very well presented tonight. So thank you so very much. I echo and agree with what Sam said, as well as he was going in some of the area that I was thinking. And I'll just say this. I believe the residual effect of men not taking care of our mental, or getting the help that we need, or talking, or however we want to go about it. When we're not, the women actually suffer, because as I'm thinking about it, I just think about it from this standpoint, because we talked about, we called to be the priest of our home. We're called to be the leader, the provider, the protector, things of that nature. I thought about if we were on a trip and the man was in the driver's seat, because that's what he was called to be. If he's not healthy in his status, everybody in the car is in danger. So it's incumbent upon us, again, back to when you asked me when I first started, it was that question that God asked me: if I really loved him and loved my family like I'm supposed to, I needed to change. So that became so real to me, and it still is. And now I realize that these things that need to be talked about, this mental wellness and things of that nature, it needs to be dealt with, because if I love, then I'll do what it takes to change. As uncomfortable as it might be, I'll still have to step out and do it. Why? Because I love.
Right. Right. Brandy, any closing?
No. I just thank you both for your time, for your words. This has been wonderful. So I'm just glad to have you both here. This was wonderful. And I really hope that it helped someone, and I believe that it did, and it will for those who catch the replay.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
You are so welcome. And again, I echo Brandy. Thank you for, your willingness to share with our subscribers and to share with us the importance of embracing a healthier lifestyle, the importance of taking care of your mental health. Yeah. So, Pastor, I'm still gonna be like, I'm still thinking about in the back of my head the part about you stretching us, but I'll just have to wait and see. I'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. You didn't wait. I'm sorry, because you didn't say you were going to stretch us. You just said you were going to stretch some people.
That's all I said.
He didn't say he wouldn't.
Yeah, he didn't say us.
He didn't say he wouldn't though.
But thank you all. Please join us. Jenny said, "Lord, not the rubber band." Please join us next Wednesday, 7:00. So I believe the topic will be going to see a therapist, even if you don't currently if you're not currently being stretched. If you're not currently being stretched, right? The importance of just being able to see a therapist. So we will have other individuals on the panel. Sam and Pastor, you're welcome to come back up next Wednesday when we have that panel again, just to talk about the importance of, or I won't even say the importance of, that there's no shame.
Right.
There's no shame whatsoever in seeking therapy, seeking counseling, be it a spiritual counselor, your pastor, or a mental health therapist. So join us, please, next Wednesday for that conversation. And that's it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Don't forget to subscribe,
Thank you.
share, comment, and join us right here next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a
Enjoy
good
the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
All right now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.